She used to laugh at your jokes. She used to make time. Now she's cold, distant, and you're left overanalyzing every moment. This isn't just about her, it's about you. This is your opportunity to stop chasing women who pull away and start chasing something far more important, your own potential. Men today are taught to win her back, to fix it, to apologize for being themselves. But what if she's pulling away? The biggest lie men are told is that if you're good enough, she'll stay. No, she stays if you respect yourself more than you need her validation. And if you've ever been ghosted, ignored, or left confused, this isn't just a video. This is your manual for reclaiming your confidence, focus, and power. Not just in relationships, but in life. Because this same desperation you feel with her, it leaks into everything. Your work, your focus, your purpose. Write this in the comments right now. I take back my power. Because by the end of this video, you will. This is how you respond when she distances herself from you. Number 1. Your attention is her oxygen. Most men don't realize how much power they bleed every single day by giving their attention to women who no longer deserve it. They think showing love means being available, responsive, present, even when they are being disrespected, neglected, or outright ignored. This is the reality. A woman only values your presence when it's rare, earned, and emotionally grounded in self-respect. The second she senses you'll stay no matter how cold she becomes, she stops appreciating you. Your attention becomes background noise, always there, never respected. What you must understand is that women don't fall in love with men who beg, they fall in love with men who lead. The more you reward her detachment with pursuit, the more she learns that she can mistreat you without consequence. If she knows your energy flows in her direction no matter how she acts, she's no longer interested, she's entertained. Think about the times you sent that last text, the double message, the late night call, the meme hoping to reopen conversation. It didn't bring her closer, it made her colder. Because in her world, the man who still chases her after being ignored is not high value. He's predictable, he's replaceable, and worst of all, he's desperate. This is how men train women to ignore them. Not because women are cruel by default, but because attention is currency, and you're giving it away like a man with no standards. Real high-value men don't chase unearned attention. They protect their presence like gold. They understand that silence is not punishment, it's power. Pulling away is not manipulation, it's self-respect. If you want to change the game, you don't explain your worth. You withdraw it. You shift your attention to your mission, your purpose, your craft. You show through your absence that her presence was never your end goal. You become the man who others orbit, not the man orbiting someone else. Cut off the attention, and you cut off her ego's supply line. That's when she starts wondering, reflecting, and reconsidering, not because you made her jealous, but because you reminded her what it feels like to lose access to something real. So starting now, make a list of everything you do to seek her attention. Every call, every like, every double take. Then stop them cold. Replace them with habits that build you, not her interest. Get in the gym not to attract her, but to impress the man in the mirror. Read to grow your mind, not to flex your discipline. Wake up early, not to prove something, but because a man on a mission doesn't have time to chase. When she feels your absence not just physically, but emotionally, that's when she respects you again. Maybe even desires you again. But by that time, you won't be looking back, because your attention, once freely given, is now earned. And that alone changes everything. Because once you understand the value of your attention, you stop giving it to people who never earned it. And if this truth hits you in the chest, if you're tired of feeling lost, overlooked, or emotionally powerless, then the Stoic relationship blueprint is exactly where your transformation begins. Linked right now in the comments. This ebook doesn't just give you answers, it gives you power. It's a blueprint you'll own forever. So whenever life tests you, whenever silence shakes you, whenever emotions blur your clarity, you'll have this truth in your pocket forever. Number 2. Emotionally check out first. The moment you feel her energy shift, you stop waiting, you stop overthinking, you stop clinging to what used to be. That's where most men break, in that space between confusion and clarity. They wait for her to confirm what they already feel. They hope for consistency after noticing indifference, but you don't wait for her to say it's over. You see the signs, and you leave emotionally before she ever gets the chance to decide for you. Emotional checkout is not bitterness, it's preparation, it's protection, and it's the highest form of maturity a man can reach when he realizes his peace is not negotiable. When she starts to withdraw, you don't lean in, you lean away. You observe and then you detach. And this is not a loud exit. It's not shouting, not blocking, not revenge. It's a silent shift in focus, a quiet turning inward. Because if you have to fight for her consistency, it was never real. The Stoics taught us that peace is found not in controlling others, but in mastering the self. You practice that when you emotionally check out first. You stop handing her the steering wheel to your joy. You no longer wake up needing a good morning text to feel seen. You become the man who writes his own validation, who keeps moving forward even when she's stuck in indecision. You don't pause your progress for her confusion. You let her stay in that fog while you sprint toward clarity. The truth is, once a woman senses that her emotional inconsistency doesn't affect you, she either steps up or disappears. Either outcome is a win. Because the man who checks out emotionally first never ends up begging, explaining, or regretting. He sees the distance before it becomes damage. He adjusts before it becomes disrespect. He controls his reactions before it becomes weakness. So the next time she pulls away, don't ask why, don't chase, don't panic. Notice it, then redirect all that energy into the man you're becoming. That means tracking your daily habits, rebuilding your focus, journaling what you want and cutting out what no longer aligns. It means saying no to conversations that lead nowhere, saying yes to the gym, to books, to mentors. Most of all, it means embracing silence, not as a waiting room, but as a sanctuary. When you check out emotionally first, you stop needing closure. You realize she wasn't the one, she was the lesson, and in that lesson, you find your standards, your strength, your edge. The man who can walk away first, mentally and emotionally, is the man who wins. Not because he played a game, but because he knew the value of his peace, and he refused to trade it for attention. Number 3. Women feel your energy shift. She knows. Even before you say a word, before your lips move, before a single message is sent or a single call is ignored, she already knows. She doesn't need an explanation, a speech, or a confession, because women operate on emotional radar. And when your energy shifts, her subconscious notices the temperature change. You think she doesn't feel the emotional withdrawal, the focus you've redirected inward, the sudden absence of your emotional dependence. But she does. When you stop orbiting her and start orbiting your goals, she senses the gravity shift. Women are emotionally intuitive by nature. They know when you've mentally checked out before even you realize it. It shows in your tone. It shows in how you no longer light up at her presence. It shows in how you no longer fall for the same old breadcrumbing pattern. You were once emotionally available, eager, even predictable. Now your mind is somewhere else, on building, on healing, on transforming. That difference hits her harder than silence. It tells her you are no longer the version of yourself who needed her approval to feel worthy. You no longer sit by your phone hoping to see her name. You no longer explain yourself or seek clarity from someone who refused to offer it when it mattered. You've shifted into self-alignment, and that change echoes louder than any message you could have sent. The way you speak changes. You no longer fill space to keep her interested. You speak less, but with more intention, and suddenly she feels it, the power returning to you. When you stop reacting emotionally to her absence, you remove the drama she used to dance in, and now she stands in silence, trying to figure out why you're no longer affected. That's when the questions start in her mind. Is he over me? Why hasn't he texted? Has he moved on? But here's the truth. You haven't moved on to someone else. You've moved on to someone better, yourself. And the man you're becoming isn't watching her anymore. He's building, he's leading. He's becoming the man that no longer needs to explain his silence, because his silence is clarity. She watches from the outside now, sensing your presence has faded, not out of anger, but out of growth. And that's what breaks her more than any argument could. The quiet, steady realization that she's no longer the center of your emotional world, and the most dangerous man is the one who no longer looks back. Number 4, never validate her disrespect. The moment you reward disrespect, you become complicit in your own devaluation. Men are taught to be understanding, patient, forgiving, to be the bigger person, even when they're getting crumbs. But when she cancels plans last minute, ghosts your messages, shows up when it's convenient for her and you still give her attention, affection, validation, you're no longer a man to her. You're a utility, a placeholder, a soft landing spot for her emotional recklessness. Women only respect boundaries that have teeth. If your self-worth folds the second she reappears with a smile, she knows she never has to change. She knows you'll tolerate half love. And the tragedy is, she might even like you, but she can't respect you, because you showed her that her worst behavior doesn't come with consequences. And no woman can stay in love with a man she doesn't respect. You teach her what's acceptable not through speeches but through standards. You don't argue when she plays games. You disappear. You don't explain why ghosting hurts. You cut access. You don't chase her when she pulls away. You turn your focus inward. The man who validates disrespect becomes invisible to her emotionally. He loses all mystery, all value, all edge. And if she returns after treating you like an option and you welcome her back with no questions asked, you tell her she was right to devalue you. Instead, the red pill man understands that a woman's behavior is her language. If she pulls back, she's speaking. If she disrespects, she's revealing. And your response must not be emotional. It must be final. A man who respects himself doesn't chase answers from chaos. He replaces it with structure. You cannot fix her inconsistency with more consistency. You cannot heal her immaturity with your patience. Your job is not to rehabilitate disrespectful behavior. Your job is to exit, calmly, cleanly, immediately. And when you do, something powerful happens. Her manipulation fails. Her silence doesn't shake you. Her attention no longer excites you. And in that moment, she realizes the only thing left is the version of herself that no longer gets access to a man like you. That's not revenge. That's justice. That's alignment. And that's how you protect your value in a world that trains men to beg for basic decency. You don't explain your boundaries, you live them. Number 5, her silence is a test. She doesn't go silent to be polite. She goes silent to test what kind of man you really are when your ego is bruised, when your patience is stretched, and when your expectations aren't met. Most men fail this test, not because they lack good intentions, but because they don't understand that in her silence, she is watching everything. She's not just listening to your words, she's observing your energy. She's evaluating whether your emotions control you or whether you master them. She's looking for the cracks in your armor. The moment she goes quiet, many men fall apart. They rush in to fix, to explain, to beg, to prove, but she's not looking for a fixer. She's looking to see if you crumble. This is your initiation, not into her world, but into yours. Because how you respond to silence is how you define your inner strength. Do you panic, or do you plan? Do you plead, or do you pivot? Do you chase, or do you channel that energy into something real, something yours, something lasting? Her silence is the gateway to your greatness, if you can recognize it. If you pass this test, you'll never chase again. Not just her, but anything that disrespects your value. You'll understand that silence isn't a void, it's a mirror. It shows you how emotionally dependent you've become, and it dares you to take your power back. If you can sit in that space and build instead of break, you've already won. You start working out, not to impress her, but to rebuild your power. You create routines that silence distractions. You read, you plan, you strategize, you elevate, and soon her silence becomes irrelevant because your mission becomes everything. You stop being addicted to emotional feedback. You become addicted to results. When she realizes you didn't fold, that you didn't send the week just checking in text, that you didn't reply to her baited stories, she starts to feel the weight of your absence. But by then, you're already ahead. You've passed the test not because she came back, but because you no longer need her to. That's what makes you unstoppable. Number 6. Upgrade yourself. This is your moment, not to cry, not to beg, not to stalk her feed or overanalyze her last text. This is your moment to upgrade, to reforge the very foundation of who you are. Because if she left, if she ghosted, if she pulled away, you now have the silence, the space, and the solitude to build something louder than any text message, a better man. One who doesn't just want to improve for her, but transforms for himself. One who doesn't just read motivational quotes, but becomes the quote. One who doesn't need her approval to level up, because he remembers that no one is coming to save him. When she disappears, don't waste time grieving her absence. Mourn the part of you that tolerated inconsistency. Bury the version of you that depended on someone else for emotional stability. Then rise. Build the life that would have made her stay, not to win her back, but to become the man who would never need her validation again. Start with structure. Wake up at the same time every day. Master your mornings. Dominate your evenings. Train like the man she never thought you'd become. Set financial goals. Build multiple streams of income. Read books that expand your mental bandwidth. Audit your circle. Surround yourself with winners. Speak less. Move more. Track your habits. Destroy excuses. When she scrolls and sees your transformation, let her know without saying a word, she didn't leave a man, she created one. Not because she was worthy, but because her departure exposed your potential. You don't evolve to spite her. You evolve because the pain demanded a response, and the only way forward is up. Let your new life be the proof that you no longer chase. You attract, not because you're playing games, but because you've become the game. You've made yourself too busy becoming legendary to even notice who walked away. Number 7. Give her absence consequences. When she walks away, when she ignores your messages, when she ghosts your presence, and she returns to find you exactly where she left you, unchanged, untouched, and still emotionally available, she learns that her absence costs her nothing. That's the mistake most men make. They believe that loyalty means waiting. They believe that love means tolerating disrespect. But your silence must have weight. Your distance must have impact. And your time must have value. If she returns after disappearing and finds you standing in the same spot, emotionally frozen, eagerly waiting, you teach her that her inconsistency is rewarded. You teach her that she can leave without consequence, and she will never take you seriously again. She must come back to a version of you she no longer recognizes, a version that evolved so far in her absence that she no longer knows how to talk to you, relate to you, or access you. Because when she chose distance, she also chose risk. And if there's no risk, there's no respect. So you give her absence consequences, not through rage, not through revenge, but through reinvention. You don't post to prove. You don't flex to get attention. You rise in silence and let her watch the trail you left behind. A trail she cannot follow because the man she once knew no longer exists. You must become so focused on your evolution that you forget she was ever part of your plan. Not out of bitterness, but out of purpose. The man who wins is not the one who waits. It's the one who upgrades, the one who replaces overthinking with discipline, the one who turns pain into productivity. So when she scrolls through your feed and sees your absence wasn't a breakdown, but a breakthrough, she feels the sting of being replaced by a mission. And that realization, that you didn't just survive her absence, but thrived through it, is what rewrites the entire dynamic. She left a version of you who depended on her energy. She returns to a man who generates his own power. That's not rejection, that's elevation. And once you make that shift, you'll never tolerate emotional games again, because you'll understand, a woman who risks losing, you must pay the price of never getting you back in the same form. Number 8. What hurts a woman most? What hurts a woman most isn't a breakup. It's not silence. It's not even your success. It's your genuine indifference. Not the fake kind, not the Instagram posting, pretending to be happy kind, but the deeply rooted emotional neutrality that says, I'm truly over you. That is what fractures her ego. Because women are built on emotional feedback, they feel seen, validated, and empowered when they know they can still impact you. But the moment she realizes you don't look back, don't wonder, don't stalk her page, don't respond to her baited posts, that's when it hits. Because the truth is, women can survive your anger. They can rationalize your sadness, but they cannot digest your emotional detachment. When you reach that point where her name no longer evokes a feeling, where her pictures feel like old wallpaper, where her messages sit unopened because they no longer have weight, that's when she feels the pain she never expected, because she assumed you'd always care. That's how most men operate, until one day they wake up and realize they gave too much for too little. And that man who once sent long messages, planned romantic nights, defended her to his friends, believed in her words more than her actions, he disappears. He doesn't break, he just breaks free. Indifference is a power that doesn't shout, doesn't chase, doesn't prove. It simply exists. And its presence is louder than any argument. You don't give her the closure she seeks. You don't deliver the emotional reaction she's fishing for. You give her silence, not as punishment, but as a byproduct of peace. And the beauty of that is simple. You no longer care if she comes back, because you've filled the void with purpose, goals, discipline, and a version of yourself that no longer fits the relationship she remembers. The man she once knew has been upgraded, and the access has been revoked. So when she says, I miss you, you smile, nod, and go back to building. Because the real loss isn't yours anymore, it's hers. If you're still watching, it means something inside you knows. This is your wake-up call. No more begging, no more chasing, no more sitting in silence hoping she comes back. You don't need her to validate you. You need to rebuild yourself. And if even one part of this message cracked open something real, then the Stoic relationship blueprint is not optional. It's linked in the comments. It's the guide every man should have had before his heart got broken. It's the manual they never gave you, and the wisdom you'll never forget, because once you own it, it's yours for life. You'll know exactly what to do when she pulls away. You'll never hand your power over again. So if you're ready to lead and ready to never be weak in love again, comment, "I choose peace over chaos" right now. Smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Help another man find this before he ruins his life chasing a woman who doesn't respect him.